Hey, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're going to cover camps, combines, and showcases, and maybe even tournaments. But uh, this is one of the biggest questions I always get because people believe that camps and combines and these showcases are how you get discovered and how you get recruited and how you get offers. Don't get me wrong, they are a part of it, but there's a selection process as to which camps actually make this happen for you. So the types of events that you can attend vary by sport. So football may call them camps or combines. Baseball may call them showcases. Soccer may call them showcases. Basketball may call them camps and combines. They all kind of vary, but there are three main categories, and the three main categories are basically camps, combines, and showcases. So I'm gonna break them down so you understand which ones are which and how to differentiate the three, and which ones to focus on. So starting off, if you're a freshman or a sophomore, if your athlete is a freshman or sophomore and they're listening to this video or they're watching this video, is I would suggest that you focus on camps that kind of teach you skill development and like instructional camps. So these would be the camps that aren't really coached by college coaches, but they're there. High school coaches kind of take the reins on this one, and they just can help you develop more skills. And it's kind of like the camps where you work on uh, position specific things or position specific situations, and they help you get better at that. But with that being said, that's just a quick tip, something I had to get off the top of my head before I moved on. So with camps, camps are basically focused on like the fundamentals and building skills. So most of these camps are all instructional based only. So a lot of times these will be administered by high school coaches, but sometimes college coaches are present, but they won't be actually coaching because a lot of times these um, these camps are for the younger younger athletes. Excuse me. And with the new, I guess it's kind of new, but not actually new. It happened in 2019, where they can't really engage in any recruiting activities prior to the summer of your junior year. So a lot of times they can only watch. They can't really speak or give instruction or anything like that at these camps. So that's where, as far as college coaches goes at camps. But as student athletes advance, they can start to attend college camps where they do have a chance to actually participate and actually train in front of college coaches. And this ultimately might get you a scholarship offer, or at least get you on the board. And this would actually pique their interest to you, especially if you go out there and perform. So that's camps in a nutshell. Um, so they're very, very different things. Oh, one more thing I want to tell you: be careful about, uh, be selective about the camps you attend, because a lot of these camps are money grabs. So just remember that. Just keep that in the back of your head, because a lot of these camps aren't free, and that's why anybody can really go to them. So next, we're gonna go into combines. So for combines, this is basically a test of skill. These test your athletes' athleticism. These are the skills like vertical jump, from the 40 if you're playing football, cone drills, basically agility and endurance and strength and things like that. The combines test that, and it's a way for you to showcase your skills on a platform where you get verified numbers that you can report back to coaches that may be recruiting you. So they usually don't require like an invitation to attend a combine, but there are some that are like invite only for only like the blue chip 5-star athletes, 4-star athletes, and things like that, of course. But there are a lot of them that don't require an invite. You just have to show up, pay the fee, and you get to compete. So see, most of these combines that are held, they're usually held by like a third party, so not really put on by a coach or a college or anything like that. It may be actually presented by Nike or Adidas or rivals. They have their own combines, and they then record all your numbers, verify your numbers, and they post them for you to a place that you can share them as well. So these do help you get exposure, but sometimes these aren't always. I would say sometimes college coaches aren't always in attendance, but if you go to the right ones, they will put your actual numbers up, and you will be able to shoot those numbers or their profile out to college coaches or add it to your recruiting profile on your own. So, with that being said, we're going to move on to showcases, and we're going to basically just dive into that and show you go into the differentiation, excuse me, of these. So, the showcases usually kind of include like sports specific drills and actual competitions. So, like if you're playing football or basketball or something, you might run 7-on-7 in football showcase, or you may do 1-on-1s in in a football showcase, or you may run 5-on-5 in a basketball showcase. Soccer, you may run a full field game. You never know. So you just have to be prepared and ready for these showcases. And showcases sometimes come off as like tournaments. So these kind of basically are designed to give players like a chance to play in front of college coaches. A lot of times, college coaches will be at these showcases, and a lot of times there are groups of schools that actually come together and hold a showcase, like a multi-school showcase, where each school is in attendance, and they're watching everything, and they're recording everything, and they're verifying everybody's numbers and everything. So it's crazy how much the showcases can change your recruiting. So I, for me personally, showcases would be like the number one thing. Number one thing I would have that as a priority before camps and combines. But the whole thing is, especially with recruiting and the mindset of an athlete, I wouldn't mind going to a couple camps or a couple combines just to see where I stand with everyone else in my area or my region. And then once I get a feel for that and I know my abilities and how I line up against other people in my position or in my area and in my class, then I would go to showcase. I would work on what I need to work on, and then I would basically graduate up to a showcase. The way I know I'm prepared, I know what to expect, I know who's out there, and I can put my best foot forward. So showcases will be like the best for when it comes to potentially getting a scholarship to college, because these are where college coaches are going to be in attendance a majority of the time. So moving forward, we're going to talk about how to choose which one is right for you and your athlete. And that's a question I get all the time because there's so much information out there. There's so much going on to where there's so many options, so many camps, so many combines, so many showcases. And how do you choose which one is right for you and your athlete? That is one of the main questions I get, because most of them are open to the public. So and anyone can go as long as you pay the fee. And that's where I messed up initially, because I went and Google searched every combine in my area. And what I found was like, oh man, it's 20 combines going on, it's 20 camps going on. Let me go to all of them. And with me being like a broke high school student, I didn't have a sense of money or a sense of time. I didn't understand any of it. I just knew I had dream I wanted to, this dream I wanted to achieve, and I was gonna make it happen no matter what. I didn't understand that my stepdad had to take off work, and he had to drive me to the combine or the camp or whatever, and then he had to pay the fee. So that was costing him time, energy, and money several times a week sometimes, just going back and forth to these combines and these camps. And I didn't know at the time, and I was like, man, what's going on? It got to the point to where he actually stopped taking me because we weren't seeing any results. And that wasn't his fault or my fault. It's just how the camp system work. A lot of them are money grabs, like I was saying, and it wasn't really touching my pockets. It was more taxing my dad's. So I wasn't feeling that pain. So I understand why he had to back off a little bit, because we weren't the richest people out there, if you understand what I'm saying. But it was crazy. So most of the time, I had to figure out a way to make it on my own, for as when he stopped taking me to camps, I had to reach out to cousins and friends, or maybe catch rides with people who were going to camps that I could attend. And that was one of the things that really separated me from well, I think it was the change that I seen, because after going to the camps and things with friends and catching rides, I got to talk to other people, see what they were experiencing, seeing what they were doing different, and before I knew it, I started seeing results as well. But at this point, I didn't think about reaching out to the coaches, let them know that I'll be at this camp or I'll be at this combine or the showcase. And when I started doing that, that's when I started like seeing more results, and more coaches were actually inviting me to camps and expecting to see me and looking out for me. And that's when everything started to change. So at this point, you should probably already have, if you're following the challenge how you're supposed to, you should already have your list of schools made. And these are the camps that should have priority over everything else. So if you haven't put this school on your list, put it on your list. And if they're not on your list, don't worry about going to that camp unless it's somewhere you just forgot to put on your list really quick. And ideally, you should already be in contact with these coaches or somebody on the coaching staff. And what I would do is I would just reach out to them prior, just to send them an update or something, and just ask them which camps or which showcases or whatever that they'll be attending. And you try to sync up your schedule with theirs. That way you get a look. And that's the way you'll get the most out of these combines and showcases, is basically because you already have a bug in their ear, and coaches know to look for you, and you're not just another athlete out there who's trying to drum up exposure from scratch, if that makes sense. So that's, in my opinion, how to choose the right camp or showcase or whatever for you. I'll just consider all those, and then uh, just make your own decision and go from there. So, parents, what is your role at camps? So, your role at camps is just like your role in recruiting. You are there to help. That's it. You're almost like a glorified assistant in a sense. So you're there to help and make sure they have everything they need. They they get there on time. They're properly hydrated. They've already eaten and things like that. You're there to help. And I know that this is a lot going on, and you want to do the most that you can to ensure their success. But at this time, your role is just there to help, and it's a tough process, and that's all you really have to do. Your athlete is going to have to handle everything on their own after that point. After they get on the field or the court or the whatever the playing competition, the field of competition is, once they get out there, that's their it's all on them. Your job is done, not until the end. So, what I would suggest not to do, far as when it comes to being at camps and supporting your athletes and things like that, is I wouldn't I would try to have a basic understanding of NCAA rules. So basically, far as when coaches can contact your child or your athlete, or when you can reach out to coaches and things like that, because a lot of times parents get ignored by college coaches, and this is because they don't mean to ignore you, but at the same time they can't actually engage in any athletic recruiting conversations with either you or the student athlete at this time, or depending on the time. So if they're like in a quiet period or dead period or somewhere, sometimes when they can have camps but they can't interact, this is the time that a coach may ignore you. But that may also rub a coach the wrong way, because this goes into my next what not to do, is you becoming a helicopter parent. And coaches don't really like helicopter parents. So these are the parents who wants to take control of the process. These are the parents who calls the coaches and emails the coaches and bugs the coaches, to say the least. And the coaches, they respect you, but at the same time, they have to build a relationship with the athlete first, because that's who they're going to be with the majority of the time. And then next, I would say, don't act like no one's watching. So if you're at these camps, combines, showcases, or whatever, it's okay to clap and yell and and support your athlete, but at the same time, you don't want to go out there and be yelling profanities or being vulgar or down talking other athletes and things like that. Because at the end of the day, you are being recruited just like your athlete is, and athletes can lose scholarships because of their parents. It happens all the time, and you'll and the crazy thing is you'll never see it coming. So I would just ask that you just be on your best behavior, support your kids, support them in a way that's not, I guess, disrespectful to anyone else, and you should be fine. And then the last thing I would say, it kind of plays off the first one, is just approaching coaches at the wrong time. I wouldn't approach them before or during one of these events, but at the end you could probably approach them, ask them a quick question depending on which period of the NCAA calendar we're in or the NAIA calendar, and just ask them what's going on. That ask them just things that I guess you want to know since they have time. Usually at this point in time during the event, the athletes are either getting ready to go, they're in the locker room, or they're getting their changing their clothes, or they're getting ready to come home, and coaches have a little bit of downtime. And this would probably be the perfect time to actually uh, talk to the coaches and get a response. And I just want you to keep that in mind because this is like a critical part. A lot of parents mess this up. They want to be on the field or on the court, right in the coach's side pocket, and you don't want to be that parent. You don't want to rub the coach the wrong way and ultimately cost your child a scholarship offer. And that's just a warning from someone who's seen it happen several times. And lastly, you want to follow up. So parents, after a event like this or a camp or a combine or something like that, you want to have your child follow up with the coaches. Make sure they either send an email or a text, especially if they've already been in communication with the coach, just to thank the coach for checking them out, putting eyes on them, and just seeing if they have anything that they suggest that the athlete could do better. And this is just a follow up. Follow up is key in this process, and you definitely want to make sure that they're on top of that. And so next, we're just going to recap everything that we went through. So we broke down the differences between the camps, combines, and showcases, and I hope that helped you kind of distinguish which one you should attend. But I would suggest, again, just maybe checking out a camp or a combine and then graduating to a showcase. So once you get a idea of your athletic abilities compared to other people in your class and in your region, then you could go to the showcases, fine tune. I would use the combines and camps as practice runs for the showcases. So we have that. We spoke about how to decide which one is right for you and your athlete as well, and what not to do for as parents goes, what not to do at a combine or showcase. And we also talked about the parents' role as well. So with that being said, thank you for watching this video this far. Remember, you're only one offer away, and I'll see you in the next one.